If you're a Samsung TV owner, even one of those new fancy QD-OLED TVs, here's why I think that you are missing out. Hi, welcome to Zgadgetreview. So why do I say that if you're a Samsung TV owner, I feel that you are missing out on something? Well, Samsung TVs famously or infamously do not support Dolby Vision. Dolby Vision is one of the many formats for HDR. And the fact that Samsung has decided not to support the format, to me at this point in time, is a big letdown and problem for Samsung TV owners, especially those uneducated about the subject. So what is HDR? HDR stands for High Dynamic Range. Technically what this does is it allows your display to show very dark and very bright images at the same time. This improves the perceived resolution and makes the content feel more lifelike and immersive. Right now there are three major HDR formats. We have HDR10, HDR10 Plus, and Dolby Vision. And yes, there is a huge difference between HDR10, which is the widely supported format, HDR10 Plus, and Dolby Vision. HDR10 uses static metadata, which means that the metadata says, okay, we looked at the entire content or the entire image that we're going to present to you. Here's the brightest range for this scene, and it adheres to that information to present the image. So the image does not change depending on the scene or as the movie or program that you're watching progresses. It's all the same. Now, when it comes to HDR10 and Dolby Vision, those two formats work with dynamic metadata, which they use to apply tone mapping throughout the entirety of the content that you are watching. This means that any variations in the image are well represented frame by frame and scene by scene, depending on what you're watching. And also it stays true to what the content maker wants to show in the scene. This of course makes better use of the dynamic range on your TV or monitor. Dolby Vision and HDR10 Plus are usually also brighter to the eye than HDR10. To give you an idea, Dolby Vision and HDR10 Plus are mastered for displays that are capable of 1000 and up to 4000 nits peak brightness, while HDR10 is mastered anywhere from 400 to 4000 nits. HDR10 rarely hits the 1000 nits peak brightness. And those aren't the only differences between HDR10, HDR10 Plus, and Dolby Vision. There's also a huge difference when it comes to color reproduction. HDR10 cannot get past the 10-bit color depth, which has a little over 1 billion colors, while HDR10 Plus and Dolby Vision support up to 12-bit color, which supports 68.7 billion colors. Now, I know what you're thinking. There isn't that much 12-bit content right now, which is mostly found in Blu-ray 4K discs. So if you do buy a Blu-ray 4K disc, if you have a Blu-ray player and your TV supports Dolby Vision, you most likely will be able to take advantage of the full range of what Dolby Vision can offer. But 12-bit content one day will actually become the norm, making HDR10 Plus and Dolby Vision forward-thinking formats. And Dolby Vision right now is the most preferred when it comes to watching movies. Which is why this is the reason that I think that as a Samsung TV owner, you are missing out. I have laid out the information right there for you, the difference between HDR10, HDR10 Plus, and Dolby Vision. And now you're going to say, well, Carlos, you know what? Samsung does support HDR10 Plus. And yes, it does. But that does not mean that that's what it defaults to when you're watching Dolby Vision content. Based on user information, Samsung TVs default to regular HDR10 when they're presented with Dolby Vision content, depending on the streamer that you're using. For example, if you're using Amazon will most likely provide you with HDR10 Plus content if, let's say, there is a Dolby Vision program, while Netflix will default to HDR10. Same thing with a Blu-ray player. A Blu-ray player will default to HDR10 and not HDR10 Plus if you have a disc that supports Dolby Vision. Right there in that moment, you are missing out on the peak brightness and color palette of what you're watching. Therefore, you're paying a lot of money for a TV that isn't giving you everything that it should be giving you. I just feel that spending a lot of money on a TV that isn't going to allow you to have access to the range of formats that are available out there, especially better formats that are available out there, it's kind of a waste of money. And now we have new information regarding the newest Samsung TV, the QD-OLED TV, the TV that was supposed to be the end-all be-all of OLED TVs. Thanks to HDTVTEST that shows that the TV is skewing the brightness and color on the TV higher than it should be, in a way to give a boost to the look of the TV that is unnatural when it comes to having the right image, the image as intended by the content creator. A lot of people aren't going to think that this is a big issue because there's a lot of people who prefer bright, super colorful images. But for the people who actually care, this is another issue. And I get that this video might seem like a hate job on Samsung and like a hate video on Samsung, but that's not the case. To me, Samsung does pretty good products, which is why they're number one when it comes to TV sales. I just feel that Samsung would do a lot better if they offered Dolby Vision. And the reason why they don't offer Dolby Vision is because they don't want to pay the royalties that you gotta pay when you offer Dolby Vision. In my opinion, Samsung makes enough money where they could pay those royalties, even if they boost the price on their TVs just by a few dollars to offset the amount of money that they will have to pay on royalties. I'm sure they could get away with it. Just like Samsung was hard-headed before they jumped into the OLED bandwagon and they were swearing up and down that OLED was the worst technology out there, they're still going the same way when it comes to Dolby Vision. Will they jump in the Dolby Vision bandwagon? Maybe one day they will if enough of their consumers request a feature or demand a feature. Or if the sale of their TVs starts suffering because of the lack of Dolby Vision. But until that happens, I don't think that Samsung is going to do it because they can get away with it and most people don't know, which is one of the reasons once again I am doing this video, to give you the information so you know why Dolby Vision is so important or why Dolby Vision should be important to you when you're shopping around for a TV. What do you think about this Dolby Vision versus HDR conversation now that you have all this information? Are you a Samsung TV owner? What do you think about the fact that it lacks Dolby Vision and it has only HDR? Let me know in the comment section. Give me all your thoughts in the comment section. That is it for me. Go ahead and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. It really helps the channel. Go ahead and hit that bell so you can be alerted every time we have new videos. And thank you very much for watching.